Maybe I can post it out on YouTube. Yeah, I think that's the solution. So I am now recording. Am I think I did. Yeah. Hey, Luis. Just a question. Are you having trouble logging in? Because we're missing a lot of folks. We're wondering if you're having the same issues. Yeah. Yeah. Looks like that's what everybody's doing. Okay. All right. So I'm recording this so that if people come in late or want to see the first half, because we do have to get going. I'm trying to finish up chapter 4 before spring break. And we need to move along. So we're going to get going. So here's Earl. Let's see. We're supposed to start on slide 38. 38. Let's go there. This is a long chapter. Yikes. Oh, yeah, this guy. I get tired of the CEO. He's like a pesky fly. He won't go away. Awesome job linking the Buzz site. I know I keep asking for changes, but really, this is the last one. I don't believe that. Can you make the Buzz site come up in a separate window? So when I click on the link, I don't want the Starbuzz page to go away because that's my page, and I don't want to go to another person's page unless my page stays there. Typical CEO. So how do you link to a new window or a tab? Say this was written a little while ago, so it used to be if you wanted want to keep a web page up, and web pages didn't used to have tabs on the top, or browsers didn't, so they would just open up another browser window. It seemed really wasteful. But now they just open up another tab. So the CEO says he wants it when the user clicks on a Caffeine Buzz link. He wants this to happen. In a tab browser, he wants the new tab to open. He does not want the Starbuzz tag page to be replaced. That's the typical behavior. You click on a link, it replaces the page you were on with this page. In some older browsers, you may only be able to open another complete browser window to still keep the Starbuzz page open. Sometimes there is no tabs. It's an older browser. So what they do is open up a whole new window. Now, if you ever notice your memory when you're using Google Chrome, or especially Google Chrome, it's such a resource pig. Oh my gosh. Just having one tab open uses a huge chunk of memory and a huge chunk of disk space. Yeah. And if you open more tabs, it's like another huge chunk. It's like the most resource intensive program on your computer is your browser because of all the junk that Google loads with every tab. So you have to be careful on your tabs. I've seen people, that say, Mr. V, my system is so slow. And I look at their browser and they never close any tabs ever. They have 30 tabs open. I'm going, well, there's your problem right there. Have you looked at your memory and how much space Google Chrome is using? Yikes. All right. So he wants this page up while this page is up. So say this browser looks like an old Mac browser. It doesn't have tabs. So what it did is open up a new window. This window's still there. This window is maybe on top of it. For people getting here late, we'll wait till it gets here. For people getting here late, we're recording this session because a lot of people are having Canvas problems this morning. So here's the main coffee page. You click on this link, it takes you to the Caffeine Buzz page. It's kind of good reading. That's why I don't drink a lot of coffee. I can't sleep at night. So if I drink a lot of coffee, I just doesn't work for me. I do drink coffee, but it's all decaffeinated. So how do you open up a new window or a tab using Target? So there's this attribute called Target, and this makes no sense. This is what I dislike about HTML is what you use is this thing. You say Target equals quote or double quote underscore blank. What does that mean? Who knows? But what that does is if the user should click on it, it opens up in a new tab. So use the target attribute in the A element to tell the browser to open a new page in a new tab. The target attribute tells the browser where to open the web page that is at the link in the href attribute. If there's no target, then the browser opens the link in the same window. If the target is underscore blank, why that? I don't know. Then the browser opens the link in a new window. So this is one of those things about HTML that doesn't describe what it does. Okay, it's one of those things that you have to memorize. If you want the page that you're opening up to be in a new tab, you have to remember to say target equals underscore blank, even though nothing in that tells you That's what it's going to do. So we use _blank for the target. It will always open the new tab to display the page. Now, people get in here late. I'm recording this, so if you want to go back and watch the first part, looks like people are finally getting in. All right.
Does this replace the href?
Doesn't replace it. The href still has to be there. You see the href is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question, though. Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't replace href, but you have to still know where to go. You just want to open up in a new tab. Yeah, everybody's struggling with Canvas this morning. So I'm recording this, so if you want to see the first part, you can. I'll get it out on YouTube, and then you can watch it. So we want to do this. The CEO wants this. So if you can add this to your index.html page in the Starbuzz website, you should do that. So open up your Starbuzz index file, and then add the target attribute to the A element so it links to the Caffeine Buzz page, or that it's already linked there if you've already done it. And then did you get a new window is the question, and you should. Either a new window or a new tab, probably a new tab, because most of the browsers nowadays are tab dialog browsers. I like the tab idea. Who first came up with that? I think it was Firefox. Okay, so dialog. So there's a dialogue in the book called the target attribute exposed. Basically, it's a kind of a mock interview with this fictional target attribute, and they have a discussion. If you could if you could actually read that from the book, since we started late, I was going to go through a silly dialogue, but it actually does provide a lot of good information about the target element or target attribute. So do take a look at that in the book. I didn't put the page number though. I apologize, but yeah, it's there in the chapter 4, somewhere near the end. So what are the problems with the target attribute? Well, there's a lot of problems. Users want to control when a new window opens. A lot of users get kind of cranky when they click on a link and it opens up a new browser window, and they say, I don't want to do that. I just don't want that to happen. Google Chrome is such a resource pig that I don't want to open up another tab. I want to just replace the one I have. Why should the person who wrote this web page tell me what to do? You can't tell me what to do. Okay, one of those kind of people. I can't wear a mask, those kind of people. They want full control. And control is what you want, really, when you're working with computers. So you're taking away control from the user. They get cranky when you do that. It's hard to tell that the old window is still open. Okay, so say you open up the new page and it relies on the old page, but you can't really tell if that old page is still there. So there's information on the old page that you need to type on the new page, but that old page got closed, and you can't figure that out. Screen readers are inconsistent when they handle the new tab windows open, confusing visually impaired users. So you have to think about those people that can't see very well. Opening up a new tab now has a new window open, and now the screen reader goes, okay, do I do the old one or do I do the new one? I don't know. They're confused. And you got to think about those folks, because not all of us can see well. All right, so those are the problems with the target attribute and taking control away from the user. Some people get annoyed with that, and certainly it hampers those people who are using screen readers. Screen readers are kind of handy, actually. Say your hands are busy, or you want to listen to a story and you don't want to read it because you're doing something else. Maybe you're washing dishes and you can't mess with your phone. So you just turn on a screen reader and it reads it to you. You have this automatic screen reader built into your phone. I think on an Apple phone, you swipe 2 fingers one way or the other. You have to turn it on first. But once you do that, then you can have articles read to you. Now, it's not great. The inflection's terrible and the sentences kind of run together. But if you don't mind a really bad news announcer, you can listen to the news or whatever, maybe a story from a website by using a screen reader. So they do come in handy. All right, so let's look at our chapter summary. Right now, one thing I failed to mention at the beginning is that, which is probably good because nobody was here, is we have a quiz tomorrow. Tomorrow is our quiz on chapter 4. So these summary things, when I make quizzes, I look a lot at these summary items here at the end. So if you're going to study anything, I would study the chapter summary. And then I also grab stuff from other places, so I read the chapter as well. I usually say, look at your notes, but again, I'm giving all the slides away because we're in CDL. So look at the slides. Make sure to look at the slides. URL or uniform resource locator or web address is a uniform resource locator or web address that can be used to identify any resources on the web. So it's an amazing thing. With this one resource thing, you can find a particular thing out in the internet anywhere in the world. Really cool. The typical URL consists of a protocol, a website name, and then an absolute path to that resource. Okay, that's a URL. Now, most people don't call it URL. That sounds kind of silly. So yeah, you actually say it all out, URL. HTTP is the request and response protocol used to transfer web pages between the server and your browser. So your browser makes a request over HTTP, and then the server serves up that request and sends it to the browser. So you're constantly requesting and receiving, requesting and receiving. Sometimes you go the other way. You're uploading things to the server, but most of the time it's this way. The file protocol is used by the browser to read pages from your computer. That's one thing I don't like about this book is they put things in the chapter summary that aren't in the chapter. This was not in the chapter, right? But if you want to look at a page on your computer, then you don't need a URL. You just use the file protocol. It just goes out to your current file system and finds that file and shows it in the browser. When you double click on an HTML page locally, some browsers would bring up HTTP, but a lot of browsers will use the file protocol. It uses a different protocol to get files that are local on the machine. So that's there. And then an absolute path is a path from the root folder to the file. So you start all the way at the root. So if it starts with a slash, you know that's the root folder. And so that's an absolute path. If it starts with a dot or two dots, or a name without a slash ahead of it, then you know that's not an absolute path. That's a relative path. So the thing you should look for is a slash right after HTTP. Well, I guess HTTP:// and then the website name, like starbuckscoffee.com. And then if you see the slash is missing, okay, then you know that it's not an absolute path after that. Index and default HTML are examples of default pages. If you specify a directory without a file name, the web server will look for that default page and return it from the browser. So yeah, it just depends on what type of server you have. Is it Windows? Is it Linux typically, or Unix? You can use relative paths or URLs in your A elements href attribute to link to other web pages on the same website. So you use the relative paths. And here, this is what I was talking about. You need to know the difference between a relative path and an absolute path. So make sure to go back to the slides and make sure you know that difference, because there's lots of questions on the quiz about the difference between relative and absolute. And it's a difficult concept. Usually you don't catch it the first time. So again, if you're going to study anything, study that, because that's super important to understand that. For other paths in your site, it's best to use a relative path. So if you're linking to other pages on your own website, then use a relative path. If you're linking to pages out on the internet, not on your local machine, then use absolute paths. That's how you do it. Yeah, so use URLs for external links. You can think of a URL as a web address. Okay, they're the same thing. I've been using the term, when I'm talking with the web design folks, I say URL. If I'm talking to people who aren't web design folks, I say web address, because it's a little bit less techy. Use the ID attribute to create a destination in a page. Say you want to jump to that page, then you use the hashtag followed by the destination ID to link to that location in the page. So you can actually jump to a specific location, like we're doing with the Caffeine Buzz page. We're trying to get down to the coffee section. And so so that's what you need to do that. To help with accessibility, and you do have to worry about this, use the title attribute to provide a description of a link for the A elements. Again, screen readers really like those titles, especially. And then for images, you should put in alt tags, and we'll talk about that, I suppose, eventually. With image tags, there's this thing called alt where you describe the image. Now, I know a lot of people post images on Instagram and Facebook, maybe not Facebook, but Instagram, and they don't do this. They don't add a description or an alt description to their image. And for people who like to look at Instagram but maybe can't see so well, it would be very kind of you to actually describe what's in the image. I know hardly anyone ever does that. I don't know how people get away or how Instagram gets away with not providing that, but there are laws in place that say any image on the internet needs to have a description of it that a screen reader can actually read. So if you want to be nice to your visually impaired people who are following you on Instagram, you can. I actually looked it up. You can actually add a little description to every image that you post on Instagram. Do I do that? I should. I don't. I need to. Maybe I will. I'll start now. I'm starting now. Okay. Use the target attribute to open the link in another browsing break. So use target equals underscore in quotes underscore blank. We just learned that. And that takes you to the link on another browser page. All right. Uh-oh. He's back. Wait. Before you go, we need our logo on the web page. Hello. Oh, I guess they're already gone to chapter 5. So chapter 5 is where they talk about the image tag. But we're gonna stop here on chapter 4. We are going to talk about image tags. I mean, we can't get around doing web design without talking about images. But when we get back from, maybe we do that on Friday. We'll talk about images, but after we talk about the quiz. But remember, when we get back from break, we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to focus on design work and saying you have to build a website. And we actually have a website, a real website that needs to be built. And I have a real customer and web designer who's going to come in and help us with the design portion of creating our website. Where I tend to focus on the HTML and the code behind the scenes and all the details behind the scenes. There's also this whole wealth of information coming from a web designer who's more graphically oriented, say someone who does what do they call it? Digital, the stuff that Mr. Bergoda teaches, the stuff they teach over in the art department, those classes. I want to bring some of that into web design, because that's the other half of web design, is making the web page look appealing, getting people's attention to draw to a specific location in the page. What are complementary color combinations? How do you set up a web page to make it an enjoyable experience for the user of your web page? We're going to learn about those things here in the second half of this class. And so that will be starting after we get back from spring break. I'll be pulling in someone to help me with that. That's Miss Bebb. She's a teacher on special assignment over at the district office. And she's also taught a lot of web design herself. And she's a web designer for real. That's her. She calls it a side hustle or a side gig. I have a side hustle. I write music, right? And she's got a side hustle where she makes websites for folks. So it's going to be great having her join the team. So anyway, I'm excited about that when she gets in. And then we'll talk about images on Fridays. So what's the next thing we need to do? Just to be clear. So you want to complete work on the assignment. Basically, here's the things that need to be in the assignment. Finally, that last thing we just talked about, change the link from the Starbuzz index.html so that it opens a new page in a new browser tab. So you want to add what we just learned to your website. And then you've done all the changes required for chapter 4, and now you're ready to turn it in. Now, remember, this website has more than one page in it. It's got our mission page and the main page, and Canvas only can accept one file as a turn-in thing. So to turn in the website, you have to zip it up first and then turn it in. Okay. Now on the Chromebook, the way you do that is you click with two fingers on you go to Files, that Files application, and then click with two fingers. It brings up a little menu, and one of them is zip, and it creates a zip file, and that's what you turn in. If you're using something else, just use your standard zip application to zip up the folder, the root folder of your website. That'll make one file out of the whole website, and then that's what you turn in to Canvas for this assignment. When's it due? It's due on the 21st. So you have until the 21st to do that. I'm going to do some grading, obviously, because I haven't done hardly any over the break, because that's the only time I have to do that. So I'm going to spend a couple of days grading. That's my spring break. All right. And then finally, and most importantly, we have our quiz tomorrow. Now, you're only going to be able to take it tomorrow. What Canvas is dogging it? Hello. There's the spinning circle of death. Yikes. Well, what the other page says is there's a test tomorrow, or there's a quiz tomorrow on chapter 4. And so what you want to do is to get ready for that. Look at certainly the chapter summary, but also all the other slides in the chapter. Maybe just peruse them. I'll try to pick out the important points, and then there'll be a quiz there. That'll be tomorrow. So don't forget to get ready for that tomorrow. Tomorrow's class, then, I think I just kind of designed it today, is that we'll talk about images and how to get images into pages real quickly. Maybe try to get that logo in on the Starbuzz page. Perhaps let's just kill two birds with one stone. Let's not turn in the Starbuzz thing yet. If you already have, you can turn it in again, but let's add the logo. And then we'll know how to do images, and then we'll be ready. Ah, there it is. Yes, Canvas has crashed. Woohoo! It's finally dead. We've killed it. Okay, so well, at least we got through the class. If you have friends that are in the class that wonder what happened, tell them to check it out on Facebook. Of course, to get them that link, I have to use Canvas, so that's the problem. Maybe I'll use Student View to send out the message about the YouTube video I'll make of this class. But we finished chapter 4. I'm excited because that's all really good information. We kind of needed to know how to do that. We learned how to post things out on a web server so that we can actually do that. We saw how to use FTP to upload files onto a web server. Super important, because you need to know how to do that in order to get your web page out on the internet. Web design is also a little bit about that. And so remember, that's all in the chapter as well. I guess we'll call it a day. We surrender. Canvas is dead. I don't know about your next class. Obviously, it might be problematic logging in, but at least you made it to this one. So I'll let you go. Hey, thanks everyone for showing up, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure to get ready for the quiz tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you later, Joanna. All right. And then Aaron, I'll put this out on the on YouTube so that you can get a look at that, since you got here late. All right.
Hey, Mr. Vasquez.
Yeah, Jalen.
Did you receive my email?
You said something about, oh yeah, you're going on a, well, let's see, it's a trip, or no, you're going to early college over at PCC. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the classes is during this class.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what I did today was, when I recorded, in fact, you gave me the idea actually. Oh, I can record this. So yeah, I'll record these for you. And it's only on what, Tuesdays and Thursdays, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So Tuesdays and Thursdays recorded. Okay. So I'll remember that, and then I'll post it out on YouTube so you can watch later. Now you might have to be patient a bit. Excuse me. Patient a bit. It takes me a little while to get the thing edited and out there. Usually about an hour after class.
I get that.
But if you look around, maybe at lunchtime, it'll probably be there by then. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. See you, Jalen.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Any other questions before we go? Okay. Well, I may not have any students in my next period. Canvas is taking a header, it looks like. See you guys.